So I see that we have our guest speakers with us, so we can start. Good morning, everyone. My name is Luísa Ferreira, and I'm Head of Social at European Investment Bank Institute. And with me today, I have three very important people. I have Sophie Robin, and she's the lead consultant from Stone Soup that will be working with the Institute in the evaluation of those that will submit an application, but will also be one of the person that you'll get to meet if you decide to submit an application during the interviews. And I have Gaia and Hugo, and both of them are SIT alumni, and I will talk more about that later. They were part of the cohort and they were winners last year in 2022, and they will share their experience, and they will be also staying for questions that you may want to ask from them. And now I would love to, before I start with what I want to share this morning, I would like to hear from you. You have a Slido. You just have to log in with the slido.com. You have a code. And the first question we would like to hear from you is, which countries or country are you creating impact? So we have an overview where you are working with your innovation, with your impact solution. Okay, so the first one is Lithuania. Okay, so I can see a very wide, a very diverse sample of countries. And the ones that wrote all Europe just would have got into all the categories. So the next question that I would like to ask you, which is the sector or sectors of your project? Oh, and again, I'm doing the... So you have all the sectors. I'm trying to go down on the screen, but really doesn't work. So I will wait for you to write the sector and try to... We tried this before and it really doesn't work. So let's see in the next screen. So basically, we also only see the first ones, but we'll see a lot of different sectors. And then the third question is, which stage of the project cycle is your project in? Whether it's an idea, a concept, or whether you are already scaling or prototyping. So let us know where you are. And again, we'll see that we have a very diverse set of people in the webinar, and in fact, it kind of translates very well what we get then from the applicants. Many different countries, many different sectors, and many different project stages of the project cycle. So what I would like to do this morning is first, this hour that we have, first, I would like briefly to tell you where the SIT, the Social Innovation Tournament, sits within the EIB Group in terms of the strategy and in terms of the structure. Then I would talk to you about the SIT journey and the SIT Alumni Network. Then I would deep dive into what is going to be happening at the final event, what are the prizes, the special category, and evaluation criteria that you'll be judged your application against, and where you can find more information, what are the eligibility conditions to apply, what you need to have in your application package, and quickly to go through the key dates of the application process and after during the competition itself. So in terms of the EIB Group, you'll see that the SIT sits in the EIB Institute, which is the philanthropic arm of the bank, and we belong to the EIB Group that comprises the European Investment Bank, which is the financial arm of the European Union and now called the Climate Bank. We also have the EIB Global that deals with projects and operations outside Europe. So in Africa, in America, Latin America, Asia, etc. And then we have the EIF that deals with addresses risk finance for SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises. And the four priorities, and you've seen when you responded about what is the sector that you work, they are part of the four priorities of the group, which is innovation and skills, climate and environment, and infrastructure and access to finance for small businesses. So you can see that you may touch one or more of the four priorities. And for us, we have committed as the Climate Bank to finance more than 50% for climate and environment sustainability by 2025, but we've already overachieved that target both in 2022 and in 2021, with more than 50% of financing of projects that finance climate action and environment. In terms of the EIB Institute, we have many areas where we work: arts and culture, knowledge, which deals with our relationship with universities, climate and heritage, and we have the social. And within the social, you'll see, which is the highlighted part in the slide, we have our support to social entrepreneurship with a focus targeting the European countries. And as part of that, we have the Social Innovation Tournament. And one thing that I think it's important to highlight, and you'll see why, is the Social Innovation Tournament, in fact, comprises two big blocks: the competition, which is what we are going to be talking more today, but then also the alumni network, because all those that will compete and will be selected as one of the 15 finalists, in fact, they will become part of the alumni network. And many would tell you that maybe that's the biggest prize, is not winning the competition, but then becoming part of the network and getting support from us throughout your scaling journey. You must know what the Social Innovation Tournament is, but in a nutshell, our vision since we started in 2012 was to select the best impact ideas or projects, the best entrepreneurs that are, with their solution, contributing to solve a major social or environmental problem. And because of this, we called our SIT alumni our superheroes. I love this photo, so that's the reason we have it here. So as I said, the alumni network is a very important part of the journey of the SIT, because once you are one of the 15 finalists and you become part of the alumni network, you'll be having access to learning and training opportunities. You'll have access to human and financial resources. We have partnerships with foundations. We give you small grants. We have a network, a group of experts that you can consult from. We partner with consultancy, pro bono consultancies. We also have, we develop initiatives to give you visibility, recognition, and networking opportunities. For example, when we organize conferences and we organize a panel, many times, if it's a topic that is relevant, there will be an alumni coming. We have a partnership with the Change Now Summit in Paris. We'll always organize a session there with the SIT alumni. We also have a partnership with the European Venture Philanthropy Association, and we organize a pitching session in front of impact investors. So these are just examples of what you will get if you become one of the 15 finalists. This just gives you a really quick overview of of some numbers, some highlights of the past 11 editions. So we basically have 34 countries that have applied. We have received more than 2,000 applications. We have now more than 150 finalists, and we have 45 winners. And in fact, a large majority of the projects have been scaling, and they are still scaling, and they've been doing very well. So we have what we call a very low mortality rate among the SIT alumni. And then you have the 12th edition in Stockholm in 2023. The SIT journey. Right now, as you know, we have started the call for applications that will last between January and February. So this is when you submit your application. In March, you will get to be interviewed by either Sophie or her colleague, Francisco. Then March and April, it's our job of selecting the 15. So there will be the consultancy, Firmstone Soup, as I mentioned, and then there will be more than 40 people from EIB and DIF that will be reviewing the applications. So it's a major effort to select the 15, and then in May 17th, we'll announce who the 15 finalists will be. Then between May and September, there will be a very comprehensive training program. There will be a mentoring boot camp. There will be some one-to-one online coaching. There will be a rehearsal boot camp right before the public event. And then you'll become part of the SIT alumni. And I will mention more details about these later on. So what you have is, you have 2 days, which is what we call, just to make it easier, the grand finale, which will happen this year. It will be a little bit different from the past. It will be taking place in 2 days. On 27th of September, you will have your 7-minute pitch in front of the jury, where you'll also be asked, you'll have the chance during 5 minutes to answer questions from the jury. That is going to be a closed doors event, in the sense that there will be alumni there will be the EIB team, but it's going to be not our public events. And then on the 28th, you'll have what we call the spark moments, where you'll have a 3-minute to inspire the audience. I wouldn't like to call it a pitch, but I would say an inspiration during 3 minutes, where you will, in a public event, will inspire with your solution the audience. And there the audience will be impact investors, accelerator programs, and again, the alumni, entrepreneurs. But this is what we have different this year. Then we'll announce who the winners are, and then we'll have a celebration dinner to close the cycle. The prizes, this year the prizes are also higher than they were in the past, and we have 2 first prizes of 100,000 and 2 second prizes of 40,000, and then the general category and the special category prizes are decided by the jury. The Audience Choice Award is decided by the audience. There will be, between the 27th and the 28th, a public vote. So all your family, friends, you can ask everyone to vote, and the project that gets the highest number of votes will get 10,000 euros. The special category prize in 2023 is Sustainable Cities and Communities. So grosso modo, it's the SDG 11. So it's about solutions that make cities and communities more resilient, more sustainable. So there's a lot of different type of projects, that solutions or sectors that would be part of this category. It can be transportation, it could be energy, etc. One thing is, the general category is for all the projects. So it can be education, it can be inclusion, and it's for any project that has a solution for a problem. So it also includes the special category. What are the evaluation criteria? In the first round, the EIB Group evaluators, the selection committee, and the consultant, they will receive your application package with all the documents, plus the video of your interview, and they will judge your project, your solution against 4 criteria, which is the innovation of the solution, the significance of the solution, what is the implementation and sustainability of your solution, and what is the expected impact of your solution. And those criteria are exactly the same that the jury will take into consideration when listening to your 7-minute pitch and when reading your application package. That your application package will be also part of what the jury will see, and for those 15, and that is a detail, they will have an option to update the application package. So where can you find all the information? We'll make this recording available, the PowerPoint as well, but you'll also have a lot in our website. So if you go to institute.eib.org and you'll see, in the what we do, you'll see social innovation tournament, and you'll get all the information about the social innovation tournament, the jury from the previous editions, a Q&A for the frequently most asked questions. You can also go to the website SIT Alumni, and you can see who are the projects from the previous editions, where you have blog stories, where you have videos. You can also, I also want to mention, you can also go to our YouTube channel, where you can see the live stream of all the previous competitions, all the 7 minutes presentation. You see the stories, you see podcasts. So basically our website and our YouTube is everything that's available. It's in one of the two. Who can apply? And this usually it's the slide that gets the most questions. We try from the beginning, when we started the SIT, to be really the most encompassing we could be. So we always had the focus of the Europe. So if you are a resident or a team from an EU member state, a candidate or potential candidate country, and you can find the definition in the European Commission site, or from an EFTA country, you can apply. The implementation has to be at least partially in one of these countries, the ones of the residency. Who can apply? We look at who is creating impact. Do you have a solution that can create impact? Then you can apply. We don't look if it's a social enterprise or an NGO, or if it's from a local government, or if it's from a spin-off from the university. We look at the solution. We are, as I would say, from a legal standpoint, agnostic. And in terms of the project cycle, as you've seen, and if you go to our alumni website, you'll see that the projects are at very different stages. And in terms of sector, you also have seen that all the sectors, as long as the solution is creating impact, are eligible to apply. Now, in terms of the logistic details, your application package will include a Word file, which is an application form where you have all the questions that you need to answer. Many of them are a drop-down menu. Some of them you have a limit of words that you can include, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You'll have a financial template that you need to apply, and Sophie will talk about these in a minute. And you have an interview that you have to go through. And you can also optionally submit 3 slides. If you submit more than 3 slides, we just discard it. One thing that, so let me go through the application form and then okay. So you'll see it has 6 sessions, one about your contact details, the summary of the project, and it asks more in terms of the project details, but it's a very simple application form. And then the 3 last sections are one about how you schedule and to schedule your video interview, some questions so we can have some statistics about our applicants, and then just to make sure you don't forget to submit all the documents you need so your application is complete. And as you see, even in all the different questions on the left-hand side, all the details, so when you answer, like it tells you who are the candidate countries, the potential candidates, etc. So I'm not going to go through all the details into here, but this is really self-explanatory. Like on the project summary, the country, what is the country that you work, where you expect to scale to, who's the CEO of the project, what is your project about, your sector, and then it asks you some questions where you have more to tell us what the project is about. The 7-minute interview, they will take place between 9 and 23rd of March. It will last for 7 minutes. There will be slots that you can choose from. This is compulsory for all applicants. The interview, as I've said, it will be made available to all the people looking at your application, so it will be recorded. It will be in English, and there will be no PowerPoints on the presentation. Basically, there might be 1 or 2 questions that are common to all the interviews, but the objective of the interview is for Sophie and Francisco to ask you questions of things that might not be clear in the application or that they think it's important for us to learn and know more about. One point that I think it's important is you can choose to be alone in the interview or you can choose to bring someone along. There can be up to 2 people in the interview. The contact person, which is the person that you put in the application form, is the contact, is the person that needs to be in the interview. And it's the person that needs to be made him or herself available throughout the journey with us. So if you are the contact, you'll have to be at the interview. You may choose to have a colleague with you, and then you have to be available for the mentoring bootcamp. You have to be available for the e-trainings, and you have to be available to the pitching. The second colleague might go. It's advisable that goes to all the different steps, but then it's a choice of the team. So this is how you schedule your video interview, and you'll see you have the slots. Some will not be available because in the meantime, some might have already chosen them, but pretty self-explanatory, and you'll receive an email confirming your booking. I've already anticipated, but this is the type of questions that you can be asked during the interview and some further questions to provide further clarification. So please don't come with PowerPoints or with the answers that you already, because they might be some of the, just be natural and don't come with written and scripted answers. Sophie, I'll give you the mic now for explaining the financial template.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. And yeah, happy to see so many people interested in the tournament. So we'll go through very quickly on the basics of the financial template. As Luisa explained for the other form, for the Word form, it's really, really simple. We try to make it as simple as possible. But any doubt you have, please don't hesitate to ask. So there is maybe one important factor to consider it is that we both consider projects at idea or conceptual stage and projects which are under implementation or will be scaling. So you have to in both cases, you have to fill in as much as you can of the different cells. So we have those like 6 categories. One, which we try to understand the A and B, we try to understand the revenue and how you make your revenues, whether it's through grants and donation because you're more an NGO of working as a non-for-profit, or it's revenue through sales of products and services. And then we'll try to understand which type of sales, which type of products and services. Then obviously you'll have the operating costs and expenses, and then we'll explain, but of course, if you sell products and services, there will be the ones associated with those products, specific products and services. But if you're an NGO, then more administrative sort of expenses. So we cover all those options, right, to try to understand and make sense of what is your how you gain or how you make sure that your project is or will be sustainable. That's the whole idea. And then obviously linked to that, we'll see what are the total liabilities that you have, what you have in terms of equity, if any, and the dividends, if you pay dividends to your to your shareholders. And that also the idea that helps us understanding better how the model works in terms of logic. For projects at the idea conceptual stage, this is really to we understand that this is an exercise that you have to do, and it's based on that will be estimates, but it's important for us to have that estimate. So just don't say, oh, we're at the idea stage, so we can't put anything and just put 0, because for us it's important to understand how you will, or how you think you will generate your revenues, or if you think it's grants, how, and when and how you think you might get a break-even point. So that's really important that you create or you make that exercise, and you can explain afterwards. I'll show you, there's explanatory notes, so you can explain what were your assumptions in developing all these sheets. Again, for us, it's very important that this is coherent with the application form. So the Excel is a way to make sense of the form, and the form a way to make sense of the Excel. Both are important to understand your project as a whole. So please make sure that, if someone else fills up the Excel sheet because it's an admin from within your organization, that you look at it from the perspective of what you've put in the form, because the two of them have to be very coherent. So next slide, please. So that's one very important aspect. Before, please. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the one important aspect is that the application has to be made for the specific project. So that sounds very obvious, but we understand that many times this is an umbrella organization that presents a specific project that they are putting forward. So we don't want the financials of the whole of the organization or the whole of the company. We really are interested in how you will make that specific project sustainable. So please give us those figures, and then if the foundation, the NGO, the company is investing within that project and put it under equity or wherever is the best place to put the investment that is putting into it, right? So that's an important part. You can add and remove lines wherever you feel is necessary if there's not enough space. In principle, it always has been, but just in case, you have that flexibility to add more lines. And then next slide, please. So that's how it looks like. As you can see, it's a very simple Excel sheet, so it's not too complicated. As I said before, you have a space to put some explanations on the right-hand side. Please use it, because it really does help us understand how you made those projections and why you made it. Please do not change the dates up on the on the column up there, the 2020, 2021. If you have 0, you don't put anything for the past, because it's a new project. But don't change it to 2023 to 2030, for example. We don't want that. We want everyone to have the same visual in terms of perspective. So yeah, the date should stay the same, and only fill up the gray cells, nothing else. So the rest has automatic calculation. Don't touch them. right? And so that's how it looks like. If you have any other doubts, via email or even today, you can contact us. And I think that's it, basically, because I don't want to get into details of any of these things. We have an explanation sheet. So next slide, please, Luisa. There is an explanation sheet next to this, Excel that you have to fill up, where we explain all the concepts and what we consider should enter or not in each one of those different concepts. So again, you can look at it, and if you still have doubts, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. Oh, I have to put my camera on. So, just final remarks. As I mentioned once, when it was the interview, but this is also true for your materials, application package, all the training process, everything is going to be in English. So applications, documents in other language will not be considered because it would be impossible from a logistics standpoint to do more than one language. The other thing that is very important is the contact person. The contact person might be the same or might be different from the CEO or the CFO or the CTO, but the contact person that you put in the form is the person that should be in the interview, it should be in the trainings, and should be present at both pitching events. The Institute, for all the things we support and will be organizing, will always be financing the expenses for up to 2 people per team. So you may want to take the 2 people to the final event, to the training, and we advise so. But don't forget that one person has to be present throughout the whole journey, and it's the contact person. The key dates, we'll have until the 23rd of February to submit your application. Interviews between 9 and 23rd of March. By 17th of May, we will announce the 15 finalists. And we already disclose all the dates so people know that they have to be available for the mentoring bootcamp in Vienna, Austria, on the 28th and 29th of June. So you'll have to travel the 27th and most likely travel back the 30th of June. The 3 e-training sessions on pitching online, they will be July 20th, 24th of August, and 7th of September. Then the 26th and the 27th of September, there will be rehearsal bootcamp with the deep dive pitches, the 7-minute pitch on the 27th of September in the afternoon. And then on the 28th in the morning, you'll be rehearsing for the spark moments that will take place in the afternoon. And then we will announce the winners and we'll all celebrate. And many of our alumni from previous years will be there, so you'll get to know themselves as well. Now we have 2 very different sectors, 2 very different projects. And I would like to ask first Gaia to tell us about, what her project is about, and then what was her experience, some lessons that you want to share. And then I would ask Hugo exactly the same. So Gaia, the mic is yours.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. So what we do at Inhale is basically helping women that have chronic pain in the pelvic genital area, such as endometriosis, vulvodynia, and other pathologies like this, to basically improve their quality of life. And we do that by starting from their mental health and sexual health part. So I'm part of the SAT 2022 program, as Luisa said before. So basically, it was an amazing journey, and the best part actually starts after the final conference, the final event, because as they mentioned before, it's a great opportunity to meet even more entrepreneurs than the one you actually meet during the program, and to get even more specific and tailored help. So we really enjoyed a lot of opportunities and fundings and workshops that we had even before the actual program. So regarding the application phase, I would say I totally agree with what has been said until now. I would definitely say to be as more specific as possible. Really and try to explain the beneficiaries, the impact that you create, the problem you want to solve, really in very concrete terms. And even if you're very early stage, like we were at the beginning, try to, even the financials, try to really put some bases and some concrete assumptions that are solid in order to then project your growth, even if you don't have it clear. And actually take this as an opportunity, if you don't have it clear completely, to make it clear with your team and really build on it. So take it as a learning experience, even the application part. So yeah, and be also very specific on how you spend the money. That's also very important, and it's going to help you once you actually enter the competition, if you enter the competition, to then proceed with the next steps. So yeah, in general, I'm happy to answer specific questions if they are, but overall, I would definitely recommend this as an experience, and really my best best advice once you get in, if you get in, is really to maintain relationships with entrepreneurs that you meet, because even if they're from different backgrounds and different fields and industries, you can really help each other out in the journey.
Thank you, Gaia. Before I give the mic to Hugo, can you just share with us more or less how long it took you to fill the form?
Sure. As far as I remember, so it took half a day to actually have a first fill out of the application and the financials. We definitely revised it several times afterwards, because we met with the team and we discussed several parts that are not as clear. So make sure you have a first draft, and to put everything black on white, but then rediscuss and redefine details. And as I said, if you are early stage, whether it is the idea or the prototyping phase, still try to articulate the most possible in order to make the other side fully understand what you're trying to do and how you're trying to grow.
Thank you. So, Hugo?
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Good
Yeah.
morning. Yes, we
Good
can.
morning. Good morning. Also very happy to be here, also to see you, Luisa, Gaia, and everyone, and happy to see so many people interested, as you said. So we at Dreamwaves, we help blind and visually impaired people go anywhere in a simple way, in an easy way. So we have created a navigation app that you can use to go anywhere without looking at the screen. We create virtual sounds to guide people, and all that people have to do is follow sounds, waypoints that are virtual in space from waypoint to waypoint until the destination, without ever having to look at anything. So this is mainly focused on blind and visually impaired people. And we also want to help bike riders having less accidents by focusing on the road and not on looking at navigation and so on. So that's what we do. I mean, I concur with everything that was said already by Luis and Guy also, that summarized a lot. For me, I feel that Luisa stresses this out many times, and I feel this is really true. Being a finalist is really already amazing. This is actually the most important part. Being part of the network, as Gaia said, after the event, it doesn't end. On the contrary, it really starts. And then we had really amazing trainings, and meeting the people and being part of the network is extremely important for the visibility and for all the support that we now are getting, and we see all the colleagues that we're finalists are getting. So this is really cool. And about the application procedure, I mean, what Gaia said is really true. Try to be specific. I think for us, it also took, the form has it written that it took 2 to 4 hours. And for us, writing down the form was more or less approximately that. We had to prepare a little bit more because you need to nail down maybe a little bit more specific things. But it is a good exercise to do it. And if you have, the most important thing is to have your case well prepared and understand well all your areas, who you're benefiting, and so on and so forth. A few things that for us really make use. I would say, if you an advice is really make use of all the opportunities. For instance, it is optional to send in 3 slides. Just use this. I think we use it. We always try to do these things because this is an opportunity to explain even better some things that might not be in that format. So I would do that. But other than that, I think the application is quite straightforward. And if you don't have it structured in that way, it's a good opportunity to do it. And that's it. And of course, happy to answer any questions as Kaya. So
Okay, so I can see some questions popping up in the chat, so I will get to it. If you guys, while I get to it, want to start answering some of the questions that you may ask. I just wanted to put this final slide before I stop sharing my screen, which is, don't forget that you can go to the YouTube and you have hundreds of videos where you can learn more about the alumni, learn more about the SIT, the questions that the jury asks. You can go to our website. You can see all the projects, everything is organized there for the SIT. You can see the alumni in their site, their stories, their blogs. You can see who were the jury, if you have some questions, what are the eligibility criteria, many of the answers to some of the questions that typically arise. So go to our site, and of course, you can follow us on social media to see what we do. And now I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to start hold on. But Sophie, Gaia, Hugo, please feel free to answer some of the questions that are in the chat if you can see them.
Maybe
Thank you.
Because it's going to take some time because I've seen many popping up.
yes.
So I have to. So if you can start, please do, and I will then.
There is one question for both alumni. What is your strategy to gain revenues?
Yeah, I can start if you want from us. So our strategy actually, so we have the navigation that's as a B2C product that's focused on blind and visually impaired people. But actually to develop this augmented reality navigation, we have to develop in-house a lot of technology. And what we are doing now, we are licensing this technology to companies. Sometimes in projects, it can be in projects with impact, but not necessarily. And the strategy there is like to exploit the technology. It has a lot of value, and make sure that we have enough revenue to be sure that we can also fit that into having the navigation app as cheap as possible, or at some point we would love to have it for free even. Yeah, so it's like exploiting the B2B part to make sure that we can serve our target customers well.
I can answer on my side. It's kind of similar because we are also B2C, so users are paying at the moment, but we also want to make it free at some point for users for more like ethical reasons. So we are investigating now B2B corporate welfare strategies. So to make, for instance, companies make it free for employees and pay us in return. And also, like we envision, we are trying to understand how to get into the German system, in which basically healthcare system pays for these digital apps and platforms, and make it also free for the final user, basically.
Sophie, I see a question from Odile on the financial plan. Do you want to answer?
I've answered quite a lot directly, but I can do
Okay.
it, yes. There was a few questions, one related, a couple actually related to projections for 2024, 2025. They were asking whether it was necessary to fill them up. The answer is yes. You have to put your best estimates for the period so that we can see the projected growth. Sorry. Then there's a question which was linked to types of organization and where you should put the sponsors for an NGO. I've already answered that this should be normally into the B, so it's a sort of revenue. It's like through grants, donations, and others. If you have a sponsor, you should put it here. And someone also said something very relevant, because this year we start back from 2020, 2021, and it's true, it's the COVID period, COVID times. So some of you might have experienced a dip in your revenues just at that time. So if that was the case and it doesn't reflect the true and fair picture of your activities, please feel free to put anything in the explanatory notes which explains, what was the history before COVID. And you can also use the form, Word form, to put a few words around that. So yeah, so that would the importance for us is not, we are not auditors. So what we look for through that is to understand what is your business model, basically how you will work and how you will manage sustainability from now forward. And if there was a past, whether that's consistent with the past activity. So yes, if there was a big change for during COVID time, you can put it in exploratory notes. We'll make a note of that.
Okay, I have a question here about whether the project is being operationalized in Malawi and whether it needs to focus only on Moldova. No, the project needs, the solution needs to show that will be implemented in one of the eligible countries, but can be implemented worldwide in all the other countries, and that's not a no. So I'm going down, this takes time.
There's one on the business. Should you have the business legally founded before applying to the SIT?
You don't need to. As I said, we are legally, we are agnostic. Some projects are at an earlier stage and they may not even have a legal status and they can apply. We don't look at the legal form. We look at the impact, the solution, the problem that is addressing, and is the sustainability.
And on one form, is it necessary to have revenues if our project is an NGO? As I explained before, the answer is no. You don't need to create or to generate revenues as long as you have a sustainable source of income. So if your strategy is to gain income through grants, sponsors, donations, or whatever else, and this is working for you, you can make the case for it. It's no problem. We are a sector and organization agnostic. We are not looking for a company.
Yeah, and I saw that Gaia responded saying we were not incorporated when we applied. So you have a proof of an alumni, one of the 15 finalists, and they had no legal definition when they applied, and they made it to the 15 finalists. So, better than my answer is the proof from Gaia's answer. I think
we have a question. If a company has revenues from the US and Europe, when filling the financial form, should we consider only the revenues from Europe? Business is B2C. It would depend, I would say, on what is the project that you're presenting. If the company is the project and the project is the company, then you put all the figures, all the relevant figures. If there is a very big difference between what the company does and what the project does, then and that project is to be started in Europe, then it should be from Europe. If it's an activity that we need to see if it's something that is being funded from the company. For example, if you're going to expand from the US to Europe, but you have zero installation in Europe, and this is something that you're starting from scratch, it's interesting to see, how you project to increase and what is, the relevant projections for Europe from that activity. So yeah, I would not answer it depends in that case.
Okay, I'm reading this question, which is about, we use statistical data for the problem. Usually the source is provided, however, due to word limitation, do we have to do so? I'm not sure I understand the question. But basically, if you are talking about the problem, it's a very specific question. I don't know what you have in mind, but usually some numbers, it's like, and Gaia can tell you that in her application, when she was mentioning the problem of chronic pelvic pain, she mentioned what is the percentage of women that were affected by this, or the population. And that takes one line to say 10% of women, which is 100 million, in this age group, is affected by the condition. And it's, even if it's not 10 million, if it's 11 million, it gives us the magnitude of the problem that you're trying to address. That is not one person, it's a sizable enough problem that the solution is trying to address. I don't know if I answered the question, but in the special category, sustainability is about environmental, social, and economic. So it's very generic. Can one apply as the founder of one project and be part? Yes. You can apply, any person can apply, any person can be can even apply with different projects. So you can be the CEO and founder of one and can be part of another team. You can be in 2, 3, 4 projects. So that's not a non-eligibility condition. Try to squeeze words. I think that's it. I think I've reached the end of the chat. Okay. So if there are no other answers, no other questions, answers, we hope we have some. I will thank Sophie.
There is another one.
Oh, okay.
There is another one. We're a consortium working on a project with several deliverables. Can we apply with only 1 or 2 of them?
Yes. If you are an organization and you have different solutions, you can decide that one is the one that you want to apply with.
Yeah.
So you don't have to apply with all of them. As Sophie was saying when she was explaining the financial form, if you are from an organization, the financials are for the solution that you are presenting, not for the organization. So you can extrapolate and say you are a consortium, so you can apply just with one solution. Are human rights gender issues? Yes, they are a problem. So if it's what your project is doing and it's the solution, of course they are relevant.
What information can be presented in the 3 slides? The one that you see will complement nicely the information that you've put in the form and in Excel, for example. You know, some images, sometimes for us it helps a lot when it's a new product, it's a prototype, it's an idea, and better than words, an image. And that's what Hugo was saying as well. Sometimes the graphics, the visual helps a lot. So yeah, you can go visual, you can put some more data on the strategy, but don't use the PowerPoint with, putting loads of extra text because you didn't have the space in the form. That's not the idea. The idea is to have, a quick complementary grasp of what you're doing. So, yeah.
If I can add something to that, I completely agree with Hugo, like do something very visual if you have it. And if you don't, like if you have something that involves a process or a user journey, you can also have, like 1, 2, 3, 4 steps of the user journey with like emoji or something very easy that allows them to understand how it works, basically, because that's kind of difficult sometimes to describe in words.
Yeah.
And if you have anything that is technical, a photo speaks for a picture is worth 1,000 words. And sometimes it's a medical device or it really helps the reviewers to understand.
So yeah, I think the secret is in communicating in very simple ways what is sometimes a very technical solution that you're developing, that you know well and in your field. But imagine we receive more than 300 applications in all sorts of solutions, from very NGO-based, gender, as someone said as an example, to the latest technology, medical technology, from the environment and sustainability, very concrete issues. So from lobbying and policy influence. So it has for us, if you make it simple for us to grasp quickly what is the differentiating factor in exactly what you're doing, you'll have much better chance to get somewhere. That's the idea.
Exactly. There was a question about where to schedule the interview, but I saw that Denise has already answered with a link, and it's in the application form. So all the instructions. So I think that's it. So I hope that I'm looking forward to seeing all your solutions and learn more about them. Thank you, Sophie. And you'll meet Sophie, many of you, later on during the interview. So thank you, Gaia. Thank you, Hugo, for being here. And thank you, guys, for being with us. And thanks to Denise that is in the background, making sure that everything is working perfectly and smoothly. So bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Have a good day. Goodbye.
You too. Bye.